Okay, so you're thinking about a career as a rental service representative in air transport equipment, and you're getting ready for that interview. Well, we're going to help you prep for that using insights straight from RoleCatcher. It's like having a career coach right in your pocket. This deep dive is going to get you ready to really impress in that interview.
Yeah, we're going to break down those tricky interview questions and give you the knowledge you need for some really great answers.
Let's start by getting a good picture of what this job actually looks like. You're not flying planes, but you're handling the equipment rentals that keep them flying.
Right, you're making sure the right parts are available at the right time, like avionics or even engine components. And remember, this isn't like renting a car. We're talking about parts with strict FAA regulations and tight turnaround times.
So organization and customer service are super important. Let's jump right into some of those potential questions. RoleCatcher says a common one is, tell us about your experience working in a customer service role. What are they really getting at with that question?
They want to see how you interact with people, especially when things get a little stressful. Think of a time you went above and beyond for a customer, maybe when there was a really tight deadline. Share a specific story that shows you can stay calm and still give excellent service.
So it's not just about listing jobs, it's about those real-life examples. What about dealing with those, how do we say it, those spirited customers? How would you answer? How do you handle difficult customers or situations?
So picture this, a client's AOG situation. That's aircraft on ground. It's escalating fast because of a missing part. They're stressed out, maybe even frustrated. How would you deal with that pressure?
Okay, that's a tough one. Well, I'd stay calm. I'd really listen to what they're saying and let them know I'm on it. Then I'd explain all the steps I'm taking to find that part and get their plane back in service.
You nailed it. Show them you can think on your feet, find solutions, and communicate effectively. They might even follow up with something like, tell us about a time you had to deal with a particularly demanding customer. What was the outcome?
That's where a good story from my work experience would come in handy. Now let's talk about being organized. How do you prioritize your workload and manage your time effectively?
This is where you show off how organized you are. Do you use to-do lists, special software, or a color-coded system? Tell them how you stay organized and how it helps you meet those deadlines.
Okay, so since we're on the topic of organization, how do you make sure customers get accurate and up-to-date information about what's available and how much it costs?
You got to be good at managing inventory. Mention any software you've used to track parts and prices. If you've used programs specific to this industry, definitely talk about that.
So if I've used something like TRAXX, I should mention it.
Mm.
It shows I know how to use the tools. All right, let's move on to teamwork. How would you approach this question? Tell us about a time when you had to resolve a conflict with a coworker or supervisor.
Focus on working together and finding a solution that works for everyone. Don't focus on the conflict itself, but on your communication skills and your ability to be a good team player.
They might even ask something like, looking back, what would you have done differently in that situation?
That's a great chance to show that you learn from your experiences.
Now let's get a little more technical. How do you ensure that rental equipment is properly maintained and serviced? I'd really emphasize my attention to detail here and my ability to follow procedures to make sure equipment is handled carefully. But what if I don't have experience with maintenance specifically?
It's okay to not have every single skill. Focus on your willingness to learn and familiarize yourself with the company's processes. You could even mention any interest in getting relevant certifications or training.
Shows you're ready to learn and grow. Since the air transport industry changes all the time, how do you stay current with trends and new equipment technology?
This is where you show you're committed to lifelong learning. Do you follow industry publications, attend webinars, or even listen to podcasts like this one? Share how you stay in the loop.
Of course, I'd mention this podcast. All right, let's tackle another customer-focused question. How do you handle a situation where a customer is dissatisfied with their rental equipment?
Empathy is really important here. Walk them through how you would listen to the customer's concerns, acknowledge their frustration, and work towards a solution. Remember, staying calm and professional can make a big difference.
And if they ask, have you ever had to deal with a customer who is particularly difficult to satisfy? How did you handle it?
It's another chance to share a story that shows off your problem-solving skills. But remember, the key is to show you can stay professional no matter what.
Okay, I get it. Last question from this set. How do you handle a situation where a customer's rental equipment is damaged or lost?
This is where you show you know the procedures and can keep your cool in a tough situation. Explain how you'd talk to the customer, document the damage, and follow company policies to find a resolution.
They might even ask, What steps would you take to prevent similar situations from happening in the future?
This is your chance to shine. Highlight your proactive approach to problem solving and managing risk. Maybe you'd suggest a more thorough inspection process, or a checklist for customers to go through before renting equipment.
Wow, we covered a lot of ground already. We broke down some of the toughest interview questions you might get.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher can help you take your preparation even further. Their AI-powered tools can analyze your answers and give feedback specifically for this role. You can even practice how you deliver your answers with their video analysis feature.
It really is like having a personal interview coach right there on your phone. Before we move on, let's touch on some career insights from RoleCatcher's Guide.
They really recommend getting hands-on experience, even through internships, to build up those practical skills. And it's always important to keep learning. Think about courses or seminars on rental management and customer service. To stay ahead of the game,
So even after you get the job, it's all about continuing to learn and grow. It seems like this job has a pretty clear career path with room to move up.
it does. RoleCatcher lays out the different stages, starting with rental service representative trainee, where you'll be helping out senior colleagues and learning as much as you can.
Then you move up to a full-fledged rental service representative with more responsibilities, becoming the go-to person for anything rental-related.
And finally, you can aim for that senior rental service representative position, where you're leading the team, managing operations, and even coming up with strategies to increase revenue.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty exciting path. But first things first, we've got to ace that interview. We'll be back with more tips and insights in part 2 of this deep dive, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive, looking at what it takes to be a rental service representative in air transport equipment.
We've already gone over some tough interview questions, but now let's switch gears a little and talk about some other tips that can really help you in that interview.
Research is key. Before you even walk into that interview room, take some time to really learn about the company, their history, their values, their culture.
So I should go a little deeper than just their website. What kind of information am I looking for?
Look for things that really resonate with you, things that align with your own career goals. Do they prioritize innovation, sustainability, community engagement? Knowing this stuff helps you tailor your answers to show how you would fit into their company culture.
That makes sense. It's like finding those connections between me and the company.
Exactly. Now let's talk about preparation. Even if you think you can just wing it, it's really helpful to practice your answers to common interview questions.
I like to rehearse in front of the mirror. Sometimes I even record myself to see how I come across. It can be a little awkward, but it really helps.
That's a great strategy. And don't forget to prepare some questions to ask the interviewer.
Asking questions shows I'm engaged and interested. What kind of questions should I ask?
You could ask about their team dynamics, the company's plans for growth, or even the day-to-day challenges and opportunities of the role. Remember, this is your chance to learn more about the company and decide if it's the right fit for you.
It's a two-way street for sure. Now let's talk about the knowledge and skills that are really important for a rental service representative in air transport equipment. We've talked about being organized, but what else is essential?
Attention to detail is super important. You'll be handling complex transactions, insurance paperwork, and even FAA regulations. One little mistake could have big consequences.
So precision is key. I need to be able to triple-check my work and make sure everything is accurate.
Exactly. And we can't forget about communication skills. You'll be talking to all sorts of people, customers, colleagues, vendors.
So I need to be clear, concise, and able to adapt my communication style.
You got it. You might have to explain technical stuff to a client who doesn't know much about aviation, and then turn around and talk about inventory management with your team.
Now, what about technical knowledge? How much do I need to know about aircraft parts and equipment?
A deep understanding of aircraft mechanics isn't necessarily required for an entry-level position, but it's definitely helpful to have some general knowledge of air transport equipment.
So it wouldn't hurt to brush up on the basics of aircraft systems. Maybe even familiarize myself with some common part names and what they do.
That's a great idea. It shows you're genuinely interested in the field.
Now let's talk about problem solving. It's a crucial skill in any job where you're dealing with customers, especially in the fast-paced world of air transport. Things can change in an instant, and I need to be able to adapt and find solutions quickly. What are some common problem-solving situations I might encounter?
Imagine a critical part is suddenly delayed, or a shipment arrives and the equipment is damaged. How would you handle those situations?
First, I'd take a deep breath and assess the situation. Then I'd gather all the information I could. After that, I'd start exploring different solutions, like maybe finding the part from a different vendor or arranging for faster shipping. Communication is key. I keep everyone updated and manage expectations throughout the process.
That's a great approach. And don't forget to document everything. Those records can be really helpful in preventing similar problems down the road.
Since technology is such a big part of the aviation industry, how can I use technology to really excel in this role?
Think about all the tools you have available. Inventory management software, online booking platforms, communication apps, data analytics platforms. You can use technology to automate tasks, track inventory, and make communication much smoother.
So I can ditch the spreadsheets and sticky notes and go digital.
Exactly. And remember, RoleCatcher has some fantastic resources to help you prepare for your interview and develop these essential skills. Their AI-powered tools can analyze your answers and give you personalized feedback.
It's like having a virtual mentor helping me through every step of the interview process.
They also have career guides that go into detail about different roles, including the one we're talking about today. You can learn about typical responsibilities, the work environment, career paths, and even salary expectations.
So they're like a one-stop shop for everything career-related. That's amazing.
They even have skill guides that focus on specific things like communication, problem solving, and teamwork. It's like having a mini course right at your fingertips.
Before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, let's take a moment to think about what we've covered so far. We've talked about additional interview tips and the specific knowledge and skills that are crucial for success.
We've also highlighted how important research preparation and practice are. But stay tuned, because in the next part, we'll be exploring the challenges and rewards of this career and wrapping things up with some final thoughts and advice.
Okay, I'm ready for that final descent. All right, welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into being a rental service representative in air transport equipment. We've talked about how to get ready for the interview, but now let's get real about what it's actually like to work in this field. The ups and the downs.
Every job has its challenges, right? In this role, I think one of the biggest is dealing with the unexpected. Air transport is all about precision and being on time. So picture this. A really important part is delayed, a flight is grounded, and everyone's looking to you to fix it.
Wow, that sounds stressful. How do you handle those high-pressure moments?
That's where your problem-solving skills and staying calm come in. You might need to get creative. Find a part from a different supplier, speed up shipping, even work with other departments to get things moving.
So you need to be flexible and have a can-do attitude. What other challenges are there?
Managing client expectations can be tough. These are clients who need specific equipment to keep their operations running smoothly. They depend on you to keep those planes flying.
I can imagine they might be stressed, demanding, maybe even a little frustrated sometimes.
Exactly. Your customer service skills will be put to the test. You'll need patience, empathy, and the ability to communicate clearly and calmly, even when things are getting a bit heated.
Okay, pressured, demanding clients. Those are definitely things to be prepared for. But let's talk about why people choose this career. What are the rewards that make it all worth it?
Well, knowing you're a vital part of the aviation industry is a big one. You're literally helping to keep planes in the air, connecting people and goods all over the world.
That's got to feel pretty amazing. That's like you're behind the scenes making all those travel dreams possible.
It is. And because air transport is global, you might have opportunities to work with clients from all over. Some roles even involve traveling to different places.
Okay, so you can satisfy that travel bug. What about career growth?
Like we talked about, there are clear paths to move up. From trainee to senior representative and even further, you can become an expert, take on more responsibility, and even move into leadership roles.
So there's room to learn, grow, and really create your own path.
Absolutely. And as technology keeps advancing, those who embrace it will have a real advantage. Remember that question we talked about earlier? How do you see yourself using technology to be successful in this role?
Right. We talked about ditching the old school methods and using tools like inventory management software, online booking platforms, and communication apps to make things more efficient and easier for everyone.
Exactly. You can become a tech champion in your company, helping to implement new systems and finding innovative ways to improve how things work.
So this role combines hands-on work with interacting with customers and being tech savvy. Sounds like a dynamic mix.
It is. And for someone who loves aviation, enjoys solving problems, and thrives in a fast-paced environment, it can be a really fulfilling career.
Well, I think we've covered everything in this deep dive. From those pre-interview jitters to soaring through those tough questions, we even explored the challenges and the exciting rewards of this field.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher is there to help you along the way. Their resources, guidance, and those AI-powered tools can give you the confidence to nail that interview and start your career in the world of air transport equipment rental.
So what have we learned? You've got this. With the knowledge we've shared, a positive attitude, and a willingness to learn and adapt, you're ready to take off in this exciting field.
And with that, we're clear for takeoff.
Thanks for joining us.